fifth grade, sixth grade basketball coach. I have some amazing kids on my team.
What's it like to be on the opposite side of that when in this story you started as the kid?
November 2016, Phoenix, Arizona. Jamal Hinton is 17 years old, high school senior, scrolling through his phone between classes like every other teenager. His phone buzzes. "Thanksgiving dinner at my house. Don't be late. Love, Grandma." Jamal looks at the message, looks at the number, doesn't recognize it. Now, most people stop here. Most people text wrong number and move on with their day. But Jamal is curious. He replies, "Who is this?" The response comes back immediately. A selfie. A white grandmother, smiling, warm. Definitely not his grandma. And this is where the story gets interesting. Because Jamal has a choice. He can laugh it off. He can ignore it. He can go about his day. Or he can do something that requires vulnerability. Something that requires believing in human kindness. He sends his own selfie. A young black teenager smiling back. And types 4 words that will change everything. Can I still come? Think about that for a second. Think about the courage in that question. He's asking a complete stranger, a grandmother he's never met, if he can crash her Thanksgiving, if she'll make space for someone she didn't invite, someone she doesn't know. On the other end of that text, Wanda Dench, a grandmother living in Mesa, Arizona, the kind of person who plans Thanksgiving weeks in advance, who makes lists, who has been hosting this dinner for years. She was trying to text her actual grandson. Somewhere between saving contacts and sending the message, one digit got mixed up. But when she gets Jamal's reply, when she sees his photo, she doesn't panic. She doesn't apologize and back out. She types back immediately. "Of course you can. That's what grandmas do. Feed everyone." And just like that, with 2 strangers choosing connection over convenience, history was made. Not the kind of history they teach in textbooks, the kind that spreads across the world, the kind that makes millions of people believe in humanity again. Thanksgiving Day, 2016. Jamal drives to Wanda's house. He's probably nervous, probably wondering if this is real, probably half expecting some kind of joke. He walks up to the front door, rings the bell. Wanda answers, smiling, welcoming, like he was always supposed to be there. She invites him in, introduces him to her family, and here's where it gets even better. Her actual grandson, the one she originally tried to text, he's there. And he thinks it's hilarious. The table is set, turkey in the center, mashed potatoes, stuffing, sweet potato pie, all the traditional fixings. Jamal sits down, a stranger at a family table, and within minutes, he's not a stranger anymore. They eat, they laugh, they share stories. Wanda's husband cracks jokes. Her grandson talks about school. Jamal fits right in. And halfway through the meal, something shifts. This isn't awkward. This isn't forced. This is exactly what Thanksgiving is supposed to be. Not about blood, not about obligation, about making space, about choosing connection. By the end of the night, they take a photo together. Jamal and Wanda, side by side, smiling like old friends. And Jamal does what any teenager in 2016 would do. He posts it on Twitter. "Ain't nobody doing Thanksgiving like us." He's joking. He thinks maybe a few friends will like it, maybe get a couple dozen retweets. Within hours, thousands. By the next morning, hundreds of thousands. By the end of the week, the entire world knew their names. Let's talk about timing. November 2016. The country is exhausted. The presidential election just happened. Families are fighting at dinner tables. Social media is a war zone. Everything feels divided. Everything feels angry. Everything feels like us versus them. And into that chaos comes this story. This tiny, simple, beautiful story about a wrong text and a Thanksgiving invitation. And it spreads like wildfire because people are starving for it, for proof that kindness still exists, for evidence that connection is possible, for hope that humanity isn't dead. CNN picks it up. CBS runs a segment. USA Today writes an article. International outlets cover it. Suddenly, Jamal and Wanda aren't just two people who met through a text. They're symbols. Symbols of what America is supposed to be about. Symbols of connection in division. Symbols of choosing love over fear. The memes start immediately. The internet does what it does, celebrates, shares, recreates. But here's what's different about this viral moment. It's not cynical, it's not mocking, it's not performative, and it's genuine, it's joyful. It's millions of people saying, yes, more of this, please. Interview requests flood in. Morning shows, news segments, talk shows. And Jamal and Wanda handle it with the same grace that started everything, because they understand something crucial. This isn't about them becoming famous. This is about what they represent, the possibility that strangers can become family, that mistakes can become blessings, that kindness, real kindness, still exists, and the world desperately needed that reminder. 1 year passes. Thanksgiving 2017 approaches. And people start asking, will they do it again? Was it just a viral moment that fades? Jamal texts Wanda. Same time next year? Wanda responds immediately. I'm already cooking. And just like that, a tradition is born. Thanksgiving 2017, same house, same table, same turkey, this time more people. Wanda's family has grown. Jamal brings his girlfriend. They take another photo, post it online. The internet loses its mind all over again, because this wasn't a fluke. This wasn't performative. This was real. They meet again, the tradition deepens, still going strong. Each photo gets more engagement than the last. Pandemic year. Everything is different. Everything is hard. But they figure it out. They adapt. Because that's what family does. And here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. If you're liking this content and you want to help us keep uncovering stories like this, stories that remind us why humanity matters, please leave a subscribe. It really helps us keep going. 2020 didn't just bring a pandemic, it brought tragedy. Wanda Dench, Wanda's husband, the man who welcomed Jamal into their home that first Thanksgiving, the one who cracked jokes and made everyone feel comfortable. He contracted COVID-19, and in April 2020, he passed away. Wanda lost her husband of over 40 years, her partner, her best friend. And Jamal? He lost someone who had become like a grandfather to him. The Thanksgiving tradition was suddenly shadowed by grief. 2020's dinner looked different, smaller, sadder, but they still showed up for each other. Because that's what this story has always been about. Not just the good times, the hard times too. Not just celebrating together, grieving together. Wanda said in interviews that Jamal's presence helped her through the darkest period of her life, that having him there, having that connection, reminded her that family persists, even through loss. And Jamal? He showed up. Not for the cameras, not for the likes, because he genuinely cares. That's when you know something is real, not when it's easy, when it's hard, when showing up costs something. They honored Lonnie's memory at that 2020 dinner. They shared stories, they cried together, they held each other up, and the world watched two strangers who had become family prove that love doesn't end just because circumstances change. But the story doesn't end in tragedy. Each year, they continue the tradition. The dinner gets bigger, more friends, more family members, more people who heard the story and wanted to be part of something meaningful. And something interesting happens. Other people start doing it, inviting strangers to Thanksgiving, reaching out to neighbors, creating their own unexpected traditions. The story inspires a movement. Community organizations use it to promote connection. Churches reference it in sermons about hospitality. Schools teach it as a lesson in kindness. This wrong text becomes a case study in humanity. But here's what makes it endure. Jamal and Wanda don't monetize it. Don't turn it into a brand. Don't try to squeeze money out of the attention. They just keep showing up. Keep honoring the tradition. Keep being themselves. That authenticity is why it works. That's why people keep coming back year after year. Because it's real. In a world of performative kindness and virtue signaling, this is the real thing. Two people who genuinely like each other, who chose each other, who keep choosing each other. Through joy, through grief, through easy and hard. That's rare. That's precious. That's worth celebrating. So where are they now? What's happening in 2025? Jamal Hinton is 25 years old now, no longer a high school kid. He's an adult with a career, with his own life, with his own story. But every November, he still shows up at Wanda's table. Wanda Dench is in her 60s now, still hosting, still cooking, still opening her home to whoever needs it. The tradition is entering its 9th year. Think about that. 9 years, 9 Thanksgivings. 9 times they chose to honor a commitment that started with a mistake. In 2024, they did something new. They partnered with a meal delivery company to help provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. Because their story was never just about them. It was about showing that connection is possible, that strangers can become family, that small gestures matter. And now they're using their platform, this accidental fame that came from a wrong text, to help others experience that same sense of belonging. They're not celebrities in the traditional sense. They're not influencers. They're not trying to build an empire. They're just two people who keep showing up for each other. And in doing so, they keep showing the world what's possible. In recent interviews, Jamal talks about how Wanda has been there for major moments in his life. Graduations, career changes, relationship milestones. She's not just a Thanksgiving tradition, she's his grandmother, in every way that matters. And Wanda, she talks about Jamal the way any grandmother talks about her grandson. With pride, with love, with that specific kind of joy that comes from watching someone grow. She says the wrong text was the best mistake she ever made. That one digit, mixed up in her contacts, led to one of the most meaningful relationships of her life. And that's the thing about this story. It keeps proving year after year that it's real. Not manufactured for likes, not performed for cameras, real, two people choosing each other, continuously, intentionally, joyfully. In 2025, they're planning their 9th Thanksgiving together. Same house, same turkey, same tradition, but also different, deeper, richer. Because 9 years of showing up builds something that can't be faked. It builds family. So what do we learn from all this? First, small gestures change lives. Jamal asking, "Can I still come?" changed both their lives. One yes to the unexpected can change everything. So here's what I want you to do. This Thanksgiving, check your texts, your calls, your messages. Maybe someone reached out by accident. Maybe someone made a mistake. And instead of dismissing it, consider, what if this is an opportunity? What if the wrong number is exactly the right one? Jamal and Wanda proved that connection can start anywhere, even in a wrong text, even between complete strangers. All it takes is someone willing to ask, "Can I still come?" And someone willing to say, "Of course you can." So be that person. Take the chance. Make the space. You never know. You might accidentally start a tradition that changes your life, or at the very least, you might make a friend. And in a world that feels increasingly isolated, that's everything. Drop in the comments. Have you ever had a wrong number turn into something good? Have you ever taken a chance on unexpected connection? I want to hear your stories. And if you want more stories like this, stories about human connection, about the moments that change everything, about why kindness still matters, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone who thinks connection is impossible. Share it with someone who could use a reminder that saying yes to the unexpected can change everything. This is how traditions start. Not with big plans, not with grand gestures. With one person asking, "Can I still come?" and another person saying, "Of course you can." That's all it takes. One wrong text, one right response, one choice to connect, and 9 years later, you're not strangers anymore, you're family.